Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cardsmiths. Today we've got some more L5R LCG content for you. And while the pace of our L5R LCG content certainly has slowed down to an extent, this is a video that I wanted to get made. I want to have a discussion about this article. A little bit of a case study on how this relates to the end of the game with Star Wars Destiny and why I believe looking at Star Wars Destiny should be a significant cause for pause and concern in regards to the final World Championship for L5R. So as you can see up on the screen here, the article is the One Last Winter Court article. It's an article regarding the final World Championship for the Legend of the Five Rings, the card game. And this article, like the article announcing the end of official FFG product support and organized play support for the game, it was released on the 17th of February 2021. I believe this article actually preceded the other one. They were released on the same day for some reason. I think this went up first by a little bit. I'm not sure why they did it in that order, to be quite frank. But anyway, released on the same day nonetheless. Let's have a look at this article. Yes, the article was released over 2 months ago now. So yeah, this video is a little bit behind, but I think it's an important topic to discuss and something that I want to cover here. So, without further ado, it's a short article. Let's read through and then break down what's going on here. The article states, "Hello L5R players. As you may have seen, we recently announced that our other games World Championships would be taking place in 2022. We know that you are all wondering why Legend of the Five Rings was not included in that announcement. We have been watching the COVID-19 situation closely and will continue to do so through the rest of 2021 in hopes that we can bring you a final Legend of the Five Rings, the card game celebration event by the end of this year. We are currently looking into options as to where and when we may be able to host this event, and we will continue to update you as the year presses on. Many of you had earned an invitation to our 2020 World Championships, and we want to reaffirm that we will honor those invitations for this final event if/when it occurs." And we'll get back to that wording and little statement there in a second. "We thank you for bearing with us through these tough times and hope to see you across the table sooner rather than later and in whatever form the future of Legend of the Five Rings universe takes us." That's the end of the article. It's quite brief and succinct. Now, the first cause for pause here is this actually, quite frankly, the first cause for pause here is this is FFG, and look at the history of other things that have, the way the end of other games have been handled. Well, Star Wars Destiny really being the example of that. Star Wars LCG, the end of the game, it felt like it was announced very suddenly. It was announced in actually the product announcement for the final pack of cycle for the Star Wars LCG. They started announcing the pack. Suddenly they're just like, this is going to be the last pack for the game. It was very sudden, and I feel as though it could have been handled better rather than shoving that into a product announcement even. But to focus on this here, yeah, so the statement here, many of you had earned an invitation to our 2020 World Championships, and we want to reaffirm that we will honor those invitations for this final event if/when it occurs. Now, the fact that they and others in the L5R community, content creators, have already voiced their opinions and their apprehension about this statement. I know there's a podcast where they're talking about it, like, if you're non-committal if you can't even commit to it here in your initial article for it, is this ever going to happen? Likely not. And that's what I want to talk about here, is that I'm of the same opinion in regards to that. If you're being non-committal in your article announcing this event, and you're putting the word "if this occurs," if you're not even going to commit to it at this point, this far in advance, do I foresee that this is something that actually ends up happening? It would be awesome if it did, provided it's safe to do so, of course. But yeah, I just don't. If they can't even commit to it here, I just don't see them. I don't see Fantasy Flight hosting this event. And the reality is, look at how they've handled L5R up to this point. I mean, for their what was at the end their only active competitive LCG prior to the announcement of the end of the game, even with it being their only active competitive LCG, they only had one designer on the game, and I believe he was actually, from what I've heard, not even a full-time L5R designer, and he was doing some things for Keyforge as well. So if you can't even devote more than one person to be handling the card design, and yeah, he's not the only one handling balance. There's playtesters as well, but Tyler's ultimately the one creating all the cards. He's the only designer on the game, and this isn't intended to be a knock on him. This is a knock on FFG not being able to, and FFG by extension Asmodee, and we'll get into the relation between them. But yeah, like if you can't even devote more than one person to help design and maintain balance in your game and try to make the game the best it possibly can be, at a company of this size, that's completely ridiculous, especially given it was their only active competitive LCG by the end. You really can't devote more than one person to be designing and balancing these clans. Like, so that just shows the level of care that FFG gave to this game, and really, frankly, the absolute lack of care is what it is, and that can be seen through a lot of things in regards to this game. It can be seen through things in regards to many of their other previous competitive LCGs as well. And like in the announcement announcing that of the game, they're talking about they have plans for future games and et cetera, et cetera. What about the LCG? First off. Secondly, I've seen this point brought up by many, and I agree. As a consumer who's buying into any kind of expandable card game in the future, why should you have any reason to trust Fantasy Flight Games? Look at their track record with their LCGs and how long a lot of them have lasted. Yes, some of them have been due to licensing agreements with other companies, namely Netrunner with Wizards of the Coast, and Conquest with Games Workshop. And I don't believe the Conquest one was on FFG. The Netrunner one, that was a disagreement between them and Wizards. I don't know the financial details of that, so what I say on that is pure speculation, but I imagine had they maybe offered more to keep the license, it could have been possible. But again, it could have been Wizards being super greedy there and the fault not really lying with FFG. I'm not aware of the numbers there, but yeah, in regards to many of their other games, you look at the Star Wars LCG. Yes, that game had a small community, but we've seen what's been done with other games. Look at Team Covenant and the PDP model, player-driven development. Like, there's ways of keeping these games and communities going, and FFG clearly, given the size of their company, these games aren't of that much importance to them, and we've seen that through the way they've been handled. And it's really disappointing because they're of the expectation that as consumers, they're going to put out new games and products, and we're going to go and we're going to keep buying into those, and they're going to keep milking us for more money on those. And the thing is, this isn't to take away from the design and the quality of these games, because yeah, Hal and I have played, I believe I said it in the last video talking about City of Five Sales, every competitive LCG that's been released with the exception of Call of Cthulhu, I believe. Yeah, Thrones First Edition, it was a very small amount, but we did play. And yeah, they're incredible games, and that it's not to take away from the designers or like the art or the quality of the games. This is a complaint at Fantasy Flight and a complaint at Asmodee and the way that these games are handled, whether that's in regards to product releases, whether 6 Dynasty packs could be a different kind of product release. I think, and Team Covenant as well thinks there's a much better ways of going about that. And I think based on the track record of these LCGs, there is perhaps a once a quarter larger box release. Whether it's through the way organized plays handle, quite frankly, just the care they show to the community, like with the Star Wars LCG end of game announcement being shoved into a product release announcement, and just because, oh, it's a smaller community, we don't need to take the time to address this more. There's not that same level of care. And yeah, frankly, it's very disappointing. They expect that they'll put out new games, and as consumers, we'll be like, okay, on to the next one. Then they're going to cancel that, pump out another one. And they're trying to get that initial surge of purchases on their early products. And yeah, frankly, it's frustrating. As consumers, why should we continue to trust Fantasy Flight Games? And yeah, in regards to the Final World Championship, perhaps I'm wrong, and this will end up happening by the end of the year. And that's another thing that gives me pause here. There are other ones they're pushing to 2022, yet they're not doing that with L5R. And they frankly, they could. Yeah, if the concern is that by then interest in the game will have dwindled a significant amount, run a smaller event, plan for smaller numbers. And given it's the final event for the game, and the people who are playing this game competitively still at this point are pretty invested, I imagine there's still, if you wait till 2022, there will still be a fair level of interest in people who want to go attend that final Worlds. And yeah, depending on how that's handled with like, is the Jade Edict used, is it not, etc. Yeah, that's going to impact people's decisions. But you really can't push that to 2022 and do it, have your final Worlds like you've moved your other ones to 2022. They're trying to shove it in the end of 2021, and really, to me, this looks like, you know what, then if the state of the pandemic in the world and it hasn't improved enough that a level of this magnitude is safe by the end of the year, which I'm not going to speculate on whether it is or not, but at least given the current situation, I don't know. It's obviously you want to be hopeful, but with like variants, double variants, it's very concerning what's going on. And will international travel be safe for people at that point? Like there's a lot of questions, and frankly, there's cause for concern as to whether this event is going to happen. And the thing is, now if they say the end of 2021 and the state of the world doesn't permit, they can just almost like, are they using this as sort of an excuse for if it doesn't happen? Oh, it's the pandemic, it's not on us, like it's what we did, what we could, and we couldn't do it, it wasn't safe to do. It's like, you know what, you wait till 2022 with your other events. And I mean, I'm not going to say that it's going to be safe at that point, but if your other events are running and it's safe for those, then you could do the Legend of the Five Rings LCG at that point. So yeah, there's definitely like a lot of issues and frustrations with the way this has been handled and the way it's still being handled here in regards to this article. So what I'm going to quickly do is let's read through this final article for Star Wars Destiny and use this as a little bit of a case study for what's going on here. So, Star Wars Destiny launched 2016 with the innovative... So this is the announcement, January 14th, 2020 announcement. The Sega concludes announcing the end of Star Wars Destiny. So there's the context. This is their end-of-game announcement for Star Wars Destiny. Star Wars Destiny launched in 2016 with the innovative dual dice system, enthralling players with game mechanics that were quick to learn but difficult to master. Bringing iconic Star Wars characters, locations, ships, and weapons to life on your tabletop, Star Wars Destiny let you step into a galaxy far, far away through 9 sets of booster packs, 6 starter sets, 2 draft sets, and a 2-player starter set. These epic skirmishes have cultivated some of the most passionate fans in gaming. We're extremely proud of what we have accomplished. However, the upcoming Covert Missions booster set will be the last product produced for Star Wars Destiny. Star Wars Destiny products will continue to be sold on the FFG website as long as stock remains. As Star Wars Destiny draws to a close, and here's why I'm using this article here, or using this as a case study. As Star Wars Destiny draws to a close, organized play for this game is also coming to an end. We hope to have you join us for the final Star Wars Destiny World Championship taking place on May 1st to 3rd, 2020 at the Fantasy Flight Games Center in Roseville, Minnesota, and serving as the ultimate culmination of skill for Star Wars Destiny players. Tickets will become available on Wednesday, January 15th at etc. There's details here. Even if you can't join us for Star Wars Destiny World Championship, one final kit is coming to local retailers near you, the Echoes of Destiny kit. Launching after the World Championship, this kit supports a series of Trilogy sealed tournaments, as well as a special tournament that will provide participants with one copy of every card and die from Wild Horizons, the unreleased 10th set of dice and cards for Star Wars Destiny. We'll have more information to share about the Star Wars Destiny World Championships and the Echoes of Destiny kit in the coming months. We want to thank all the fans who have supported the game since its debut in 2016. For more details and thoughts on the end of Star Wars Destiny from lead developer Jeremy Zwern, read on. We don't have to read on here. I bring this article to attention here in this video for how it pertains to the final World Championship and the Echoes of Destiny kit here. So I don't want this to be an extremely long video, so I'll kind of fly through this quickly. But yes, this announcement, as you could see, was made the 14th of January 2020. So this is prior to the global pandemic, and obviously that's racked devastation, significant devastation, and it's completely understandable that the event did not, I mean, obviously the event couldn't occur May 1st to 3rd, there's no way, but, and it's good that it didn't, to be clear, but now, the thing is, this event is never actually happening. And I have a tweet here. So here's a tweet made December 29th, 2020. In light of the events of 2020, there will be no further OP kits or events for Star Wars Destiny. And there was a significant amount of backlash after following this tweet. It has been a wonderful journey with this game, and we want to say thank you to all of the players. Unfortunately, this year has been hard, and we understand everyone's frustrations. We'll do all we can to make 2021 a better year. So yeah, not only did this final event not occur, obviously the event had to be postponed, but then they just announced a cancellation here, and not only that, but they make that announcement only through their tweet, or maybe on other social media platforms they have as well. But the most recent article that relates, and this isn't even just for Star Wars Destiny, was released March 6, 2020. So they never even made that announcement that there will be no further organized play support given with the Echoes of Destiny kit, or the final World Championship. That announcement wasn't even made on their website, which is frankly absurd to me. That you're just throwing that out in a tweet. There's a massive amount of people who don't have Twitter who maybe they hear about that announcement through other channels, maybe they don't, and they're wondering what's going on. And you really can't throw an article up on your website stating that, like, as unfortunate as it is. And granted, I have a lot of issues with the Echoes of Destiny kit being canceled, given that, like, a lot of people, not a lot, but some people may have bought into the game in anticipation of that there's going to be that Echoes of Destiny kit. They can get some they can buy some cards, go participate in those trilogy events, and, like, once it becomes safe to do so, and they can get their full, from that one special event, they can get one copy of every card and die from Wild Horizons. That sounds awesome. And the thing is, like, obviously it's the unreleased set. It sounds like the set has been made, and you would imagine this, when they're already making this announcement, you'd think the set has been made, so I don't know whether it had been printed or not. But I mean, frankly, I'm an example of that. I bought into Star Wars Destiny, and to be clear, I don't regret that at all. It's a great game. I'm really happy I have those cards in my collection. They're just going to become harder and harder to find, and I'm really happy I bought into the game right near the end there. Like, granted that now I have the game and I'll be able to play it going forward, and it is a really fun game. So I'm happy I did that. But when I was buying into it, one of the assumptions I was making was that, you know what, I bought a big Covert Missions booster box. It's like, you know what, I could participate in a trilogy event with these cards, and then I could earn the Echoes of Destiny stuff. And like I completely understand, and no event should be taking place if it's not safe to do so. And I'm of the opinion of that. And everything should be pushed back. But my issue is that the event should still take place once it becomes safe to do so. And they've announced here that it would, and yeah, that may have affected people's purchase decisions. And again, I'm glad I bought Star Wars Destiny, but it was something I was thinking about when I was getting into it. It's like, you know, now I'll be able to participate and earn some cards from Wild Horizons. And also, the final World Championship did not ever end up happening. And that's the main reason I relate it to this article, is that instead of pushing it back, they just outright canceled it. And I know there's still a ton of people who play Star Wars Destiny. They could have ran that event. If they're concerned about numbers and the finances behind that, run a smaller event. I think there's still the interest there for Destiny, and if you don't think there is, you could run a more conservative event, at least see what kind of interest there is in terms of how many people can make it once it becomes safe to do so. I imagine once it becomes safe to do so, there's going to be tons of people who want to get out to these kind of events, and for people who play Star Wars Destiny, this is a great culmination of the game for them, the final worlds. That's super exciting, and that's been taken away from them. And that's why I bring this up in relation to the L5R here. Look what they did with Destiny. They swept it under the rug. They didn't even announce they're saying they're not going to do it on their website. They just threw it up on their Organized Play Twitter account, and that's how it was handled. And until I'm proven otherwise, and even if I am, I'm still going to remain skeptical, but until I'm proven otherwise, I don't see this happening. They say if in the actual article. So this is almost to appease people, really, and maybe it happens, and it would be awesome if it did. It would be great for this game's community if it becomes safe to do so, and it can happen, and that would be awesome. And I've heard from the Netrunner community, and I played Netrunner, and I played in organized play events. I was never going to like a Worlds or a Nationals or an event of that magnitude, but I played in a store championship and a regional, and I think it's a great game, and it is a great game. It's Netrunner is awesome, and what I heard is that for Netrunner, that final World Championship was kind of a cathartic experience for them, because you know, you buy into these competitive LCGs and it's a significant financial cost, and people have invested a lot in these games in terms of money and time, and there's content creators, there's people who have invested a lot into these, and because they are awesome games and they're super fun, but and especially a game like L5R, there's the ongoing story, so people are the clan loyalty, people are invested, and to give them an opportunity to have that final event, and like with friends from around the world that you've met at other events, and it's like they even say here, like a celebration of the game. And obviously that's marred in a lot of disappointment as well. But at the same time, it is a celebration of this is the final worlds, and there is like excitement there, and it's like it can be a somewhat cathartic experience in terms of people who are really invested in the game, and it's been canceled, but they still get this one last, hopefully epic event. So yeah, again, actually, I'll bring myself to one final point here in regards to the complaints about how things are handled. And so we, like the Cardsmiths, we reached out to Fantasy Flight through Tyler, and we asked him if we could get a spoiler from either the final Dynasty pack or Under Fulang's Shadow, the final premium expansion for the game. And yeah, like we've created a lot of videos for L5R. We don't have a massive following on our YouTube, but we have a modest following of people to our channel. And yeah, we've obviously made a lot of videos for the game. We have a lot of content for the game, and it was something I was hoping for, was to be able to get a spoiler card, and maybe from the final premium expansion. That would be something that's really cool. We've supported the game on our channel. That was something I was hoping for. And Tyler seemed happy about that. We reached out to him. He was friendly, and he told us he was going to pass that along to the marketing team and see if that was possible. And we never ended up hearing anything back from them. And I don't want to put the blame on Tyler for that. He was friendly. He said he would pass along our request, but Fantasy Flight Games, like they can't even give us a card spoiler for a game that they're no longer offering organized play for, or we've supported the game on our channel. Like, you can't give us one card. That would have been cool. Is something that I was hopeful for. And I don't want to turn this into a rant about that. It's not. But again, it's those things that just show you the level of care they're giving to this kind of game. Like, is there any reason why we couldn't, even if you gave us a card spoiler from the challenge deck from Under Fulang's Shadow, like one of the Shadowlands Oni or creatures or something, that's cool. It's not even a card that's legal in standard or Jade format. So again, yeah, not to get too much into that, but again, it's an indication of the level of care and care for the community and support there. And it's frankly frustrating and it's disappointing. So this video is probably getting a little long now, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Let me know down in the comments below what you think in regards to this. If there's anything I said that any points that you agree, disagree with, yeah, feel free to let me know if you want to in the comments below. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. To everyone who's subscribed to the channel, big thanks. And if you haven't already and you've been enjoying the content, feel free to hit that like or subscribe button. Well, you can hit the like button if you're subscribed as well, but you know what I mean. And yeah, thanks for sticking with me through the end of the video, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take care.